What's in the box? Well, here's a hint. And for the 99% of you that didn't get that hint, you guys are going to be pretty surprised by what you find inside. Also, this is going to be my first time opening it, and I am super excited. So let's get this garbage off the top, and my childhood dreams have come true. How's that look on the camera? That looks pretty wacky. So what is this? Verlisify bought some craft supplies? Is this going to become a sewing channel or something now? Dear Belly, what is going on with this? Well, this is actually a lot of the materials that you use in making flies. I'm not talking about bugs, well, kind of talking about bugs, but I'm talking about fishing flies. Here are a couple, well, not these two, these are like actual store-bought ones, but here's a couple that I've actually made in the past, and these are over a decade old at this point, or close to it. The idea is you use feathers and furs and it replicates bait, and that's also where you get some of the more like traditional fly stuff you might have seen or heard about, like this guy right here. Like, this fat little fly lands on the water and then someone's going to go and snatch it up and it's going to be delicious. Well, the fish thinks it's going to be delicious, but it actually ends up being delicious for me, but that's kind of the idea. And there's some pretty crazy stuff that you can use to make these flies. As you can see, like deer belly. This is just dyed fur of an animal, and you can use it to get all kinds of like crazy effects and stuff like that. There's a lot of synthetic stuff as well. We have Arctic fox hair, chartreuse. I think this is artificial, or it might actually be real Arctic fox. It's probably real though, because you have like trappers and they sell the furs and stuff, and then some of them get dyed. But one thing I'm actually disappointed in is that my camera is pretty crap, so it doesn't capture how vibrant this is. These are actually like really vibrant colors. The pink is super saturated. Yeah, I think like the pink is probably the closest. So imagine this saturation of pink, but for like all of the other colors and stuff like that. So we have a lot of cool things like that. This is just kind of like, it's called Diamond Bright, and what you do is you kind of like spin it and you like fluff it onto the fly to give all of these extra like really cool effects and stuff. So I have like a lot of that. You might notice there's also a lot of green in this box. Here's just some like silicone, just, you know, plasticky bait kind of worm stuff that you can use to tie into a fly as well. You might notice there's a lot of green. Well, that's because when I go fishing, I swear by the golden rule. If it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use. And that is kind of why I decided to spend a lot of money in fishing supplies. Leave your comment down below as a guess as to how much this box of cool stuff costs. Because like this is my childhood coming true. Also, this is like a waste basket so I don't get fluff everywhere when I'm like making the flies and stuff. But this box cost about $400. That's because these things are expensive. Like, these are actual rooster feathers. I think it's rooster. Like, these are like chicken feathers that are dyed. They came off a real chicken. That's gonna be $5. These ones have like a special iridescent coat, so that's like $7. And then we have all kinds of artificial things and crazy legs, and that's actually peacock feathers. So we have peacock feathers. They're pretty, and that means they're gonna be a little expensive and stuff. We got fibers, we got yarns, we got hooks, so I can actually tie the flies and stuff like that. Got more worm shenanigans. It just keeps on going, and it keeps on going, and it fills me with incredible amounts of joy because, as you can see, it's some very expensive stuff. And as a kid, you know, a decade ago when I was tying the flies and I was making these, I had very rudimentary supplies. I couldn't get all the cool stuff. Also, technology has come a long way, you know, like actually make like the dyes, the artificial stuff to be able to produce some of these things. It's come a long way, so I actually have the funds now to make, to like have my ultimate fly kit. I think the most I ever had growing up was maybe like $150 in fly tying materials, and some of that was like the initial stuff because there's also a lot of gear that comes with it if I can actually end up grabbing it. So we have the fly tying vise. You put a hook in there and then you tie it, and then that's like what holds everything steady. You also have like a kit of tools that you use for it. So, you know, that was a good amount. I remember I won like a $75 Bass Pro Shops gift card for a Halloween contest because I dressed up as like a fishing redneck. I had the mullet, so it was like 90% of the costume right there. But the judges loved me and my spirit. I got like a $75 Bass Pro Shops gift card, and like most of that went to fly tying materials and a couple of birthday presents. So yeah, probably like $150 in it. But I mean, that was also like the basics, you know, like this stuff was half of that. So whenever I'd go into Bass Pro Shops, I could usually only get 1 or 2 things, so it'd have to be like the simple stuff. It's like, well, I need feathers to make some of that stuff. You need bucktails. Yeah, that's the ass of a deer right there, and then died. So you need this stuff, and I had a lot of the basics. I couldn't get the cool things. I couldn't get the gummy worms. I couldn't get all of the extra like super flash fibers and all the other cool and crazy things I wanted. I need to put these down. So I decided I'm actually going to make a purchase on myself for once, because that's really rare. The only things I bought for myself are my computer, which still counts for work, and I have like a really cool computer. It's a Threadripper when Threadripper first came out, and GTX 1080, but the most intense game I play is like League of Legends or Call of Duty, so I'm not getting the full new game usage out of that or anything crazy on those lines. And then I bought my boat, and that just kind of like goes to my whole childhood thing. Like, when I was a kid growing up, my thought was, if I ever had money, I'm just going to get the best fishing stuff ever. And now that I have money, I'm not doing that. So that was just when I was like, well, why not spend this? I lost $2,000 in the stock market this week. Why can't I spend a couple hundred to actually do something that's going to be cool? So that's what this is going to be about. Now, 90% of the people watching this video have probably clicked off by now, so they wouldn't really be interested. But the plan is I'm going to start making flies over on Twitch. So twitch.tv/VerlisWolf. I think it'd be a really cool place to like live stream that, because it really wouldn't have the intensity of playing games, and it could just be like a just chatting thing or crafts or like whatever crafting section they have, where it's like, I can just do this. I can talk with people that like fishing or they're interested enough to where I can go on with like hours and hours of anecdotes for a while, and then the Twitch subs would help fund that. Also, if you think this is cool and you like my passion, you can hit the join button or subscribe, notifications, all that fun stuff, because it's expensive. I can clearly cover it with my just natural earnings from YouTube, but more money is always cool, because then I get to fund my passions or my stock losses even more. Also, depending on how that goes, you can find some more content over on my second/third channel, my bass fishing channel, which only has 2 videos on it, but this could be a good way of reviving that even if I'm not going out and catching fish every day, I could at least be posting making fishing lures, which is also kind of a side thing I like doing. I make spinner baits in my spare time as well, so I've got a couple of those, and like, you know, you got flashy, sparkly things and the skirts and all that. So I just want to kind of like, I want to do this. And the reason why I bought all these supplies is because I like making flies. I've had some of the most success ever with my own fishing lures, which is not only the greatest feeling ever when you catch a fish on something you've made, but also it's just a better lure. If I go out with one of these, you know, this bad boy, I've effectively made 5 of these that are like a mirror image of each other, and barring one that might have gotten caught on a stump and I had to like break the line off, this is the only survivor because it caught so many fish. So I like that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, I can have more control over the lures I'm making, which could translate into more success on this lake. I'm a bit disappointed in how the fishing has been, which is why I haven't made a lot of videos. It's not that I'm catching no fish, it's just every video is the same. I throw out a spinnerbait, I don't catch any big bass, I go to a jig, I catch a lot of small bass, and then I go to the fly, and then I catch even more small bass. So I'm trying to like figure out like, I can mix this up. Also, I really don't like recording while fishing. Fishing for me is very artistic form. I take like a lot of spirituality in it in its own weird way, because I become one with the water, and then I catch a ton of fish. I haven't been catching as many fish, which is a little disappointing, which is why we have, you know, hundreds of dollars in fishing lure supplies. But also, it's like disruptive. I'm like, well, am I recording? Oh, my mic's all messed up. I need to make sure this is in shot. Oh, the fish are over there, and I can't get the shot over there. And then, you know, I just don't like, and then I have to like compile the clips. Hopefully everything worked out right, and then I have to upload. I just didn't like doing that. I thought this season I was going to get more fishing in. I got a lot of fishing in, but I didn't get a lot of video making in, because every time I wanted to go out fishing, I didn't want to go out and set up all my camera equipment. I just wanted to go and go fishing. So at least with this, we can figure out something, and if it catches a fish, I can maybe translate that into content in some kind of way. At the very least, I think it'd be cool if I have any downtime, I can at least provide content on twitch.tv for some subscribers over there, and then probably open up YouTube to my gaming live streams, because YouTube gaming is kind of popping off since Twitch is dropping the ball, but just chatting is always on fire over there. So we got some weird stuff when it comes to content-wise, and it's mostly just about, yeah, I'm chilling right now. And this really isn't a 2020 kind of thing where it's like, oh man, things were so tough this year. It really made me reflect and think about what's important. I need to do some self-care, and I need to think about me. Now, I'm still a couple years away from that. Mostly I'm just really pissed off I'm not catching all the big fish. So I will create through the next couple of months or years the perfect lure that will then shred every possibility in the Pacific Northwest, and I will create the ultimate bass lure. Maybe the trout lure. Maybe I will just create the ultimate fishing lure. You know, what happens if I hand tie the perfect fly with all of these wacky materials and I turn it into a spinnerbait? So instead of being for the fly, it casts on traditional tackle. Fish ain't gonna be ready for that. Am I gonna catch every fish in this lake? Am I gonna just open up a black hole from how stupid that idea is? Or is it just gonna fail and then I have, you know, another $500 in materials to try again with? So I think this is gonna be cool. I have all the pretty things I ever wanted growing up, and it only cost me a fraction of, you know, risky stock trades. Now, I am up on my stocks overall, so don't worry about that, guys. I bought in March, I bought the dip for the COVID, and it's all been uphill from there. But then, you know, I make some stupid option plays, and then, you know, there goes $1,000 just like that. So that's my problem. I'm massively obsessed with fly tying, and I love having all the components to tinker into a fishing lure, and just really, I've never had the opportunity. Well, I've technically had the opportunity over the last couple of years to do that because YouTube has been very prosperous for me. But I finally went through with it, and now maybe something comes of it. If not, I think it's still, this is cool because I have like a couple of materials lying around somewhere that have followed me for the last decade. So maybe if this doesn't work out now, in like 15, 20 years, if I decide to retire, then I'll pull out the box and then I'll just be an old man making flies like most old people, and we'll call it good there. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.